Hi, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to the Let's Keep Moving with Risha podcast. This is Risha. I'm a motivational speaker, content creator, and I love talking about things that will help you keep moving in your life, especially on areas like your life, mental health, love, growth, and everything in between. If you're ready, let's keep moving. Hindi ko din alam kung bakit ganito yung title ng episode na to. And it might scare you because I think for the first time in this episode or in this podcast, I am talking about this. And for a lot of people, it might be scary. I super understand why you might not want to listen to this particular episode, or this might be something sensitive for you. This might be uncomfortable for you, and I fully understand that. I love you. I love where you're coming from, and I understand it. So I would also understand if you would choose not to listen to this. But friends, if you're open naman to understanding this part and this reality that everybody gets to experience, of course, then I would love for you to join me. This is just going to be smooth and flowy, and I promise you the lessons that comes after listening to this episode is no money can ever buy. As in, like, I don't usually talk about this. I've never talked about this to anyone before. And this is the first time I'll ever talk about it, and you'll be surprised talaga. So, this is so weird to talk about. I know. I know this is so weird even for me. But let's start breaking the norm this time, and let's start talking about the things that we grew up being taught not to talk about. Kasi parang before, parang every time we get to talk about this, parang i-snap ako bigla or like papagalitan ako. Parang, shh, parang ganon. Like, wag pag-usapan yan. But since you've read it from the title, I've had this vivid dream about death. And I don't know why I'm smiling, because the realizations that I realized after realizing, or like after reflecting on that dream, is something that is so powerful. And if you guys want to know my thoughts about death, then without further ado, let's keep moving. I know that all of us get to have a dreams na something so close to our heart. Something na parang mapapaisip ka talaga, ano kaya yung ibig sabihin nun? Bakit ako na naginip ng ganon? And most of the time, I tend to shrug my dreams off. Kasi yung iba, alam ko walang ibig sabihin. It may be just because of so much stress, so much anxiety, or irregular sleeping patterns. Madalas yun talaga yung rason kung bakit tayo nananaginip. But sometimes, there are also vivid dreams na naaalala ko. And kaya mo siya naaalala kasi it occurred during the REM sleep, which is yung pinakamalalim mong tulog. And weird how this particular dream of mine really spoke to me, because the last time that I had this type of dream, it was so special to my heart kasi yung dream ko nung una was all about emotions. It's all about not repressing them and bottling them up. So that dream for me was a reminder to never deny myself of feeling the emotions that I have, and that I have all the right to feel whatever I want to feel, and that I should not bottle my emotions, and that my emotions are not my enemies. And sa totoo lang, kakampi ko yung mga emotions ko. This time, I had this vivid dream about death. So it was a random day. My family was there. And yeah, before we even talk about it, I want you to know that this is so special to my heart. I am sharing this with you because I feel safe sharing this with you. I feel safe sharing this part of my life with you. And I love sharing this not for my own personal satisfaction, but if this story of mine, or if this dream of mine can inspire you and can teach you lessons that no amount of experience in your life can ever give, then that will be great. But I have already reflected on this experience. So for me, this is just me sharing you the lessons. Kasi I love sharing lessons when I'm done with the lessons na. So, I had this vivid dream, and it was a day, and weird because my family was there, Jurins was there, and biglang may dumating na coffin, which is in Tagalog is kabaong. I don't wanna say it in Tagalog, but it's a coffin. I love to call it coffin. Para lang hindi masyadong vulgar. Anyway. Um, and when I told the guy, what or who is that coffin for? Para kanino yan? They told me it's for me. And I was like, you must be kidding. I'm not dead yet. Sabi ko dun sa dream ko. Hindi pa ako patay. And then, nung nakita ko na yung coffin, uh, nandun siya sa sasakyan, pero hindi ako pumasok sa loob. I just thought of thinking what it felt like to be inside. And then, nung nandun na ako, pinasakay nila ako sa sasakyan. It was like, it was a normal car, so nothing to worry about. And then I had to wake up. I know it's like, sobrang bilis lang na panaginip, but I don't want to get into detail. It's just that when I woke up, I was so emotional about it that I had to search what it's about. And usually, kapag nagkakapanaginip ako ng ganon, madalas talaga nagsusearch ako. Tapos kung ano yung something na nabasa ko that felt real to me and that felt personal to me, that's what I'm going to take. So also, I just want to tell you that everything around us, everything that we see, everything that we hear, everything that we feel, everything around us is just information. How you take it is actually what's going to change your life. Ibig sabihin, not everything around you is meant to attack you. It's just that you chose that thing, you chose that situation as something that you believe na i-attack ka talaga. So I hope that makes sense. The reason why I can openly share this dream of mine, no matter how sensitive it might be for a lot of people, is because I already reflected on it. And like what I told you, everything is just information. For me, this is just information. And the way I took it is something beautiful for me. And grabe yung lessons na natutunan ko pagkatapos ng panaginip na to. So it might be the same for you. There might be, regardless of it being about death or what, there might be a lot in your life that's so messed up, or you found out something, or something is bothering you. Remember, everything is just information. How you take it or how you perceived it is all within your control. So kung paano mo ipaperceive, paano mo paniniwalaan, or kung ano yung ibig sabihin sa'yo ng mga bagay-bagay, yun lang at yun lang din yun. Everything else is just information. It is still within your control on what you choose for that situation, or what role does that situation have in your life. And for me, it's beautiful, like what I said. After all that I've been through, that dream was a reminder for me that I'm a new person already, and I'm no longer the Risha I was before because a part of me has died already. The coffin for me was a symbolism that I am no longer the person I was before. I am no longer the Risha I was before. I am a totally and completely new person. And when you go through a lot of phases in your life and you learn your lessons, accept that it won't be the same anymore, and a part of you died already. I mean that figuratively. I had the guts to actually share this experience of mine dun sa coaching session namin. Kasi I'm going through a 12-week coaching session with Miss Libney. And sabi niya, you're always going to die if you're evolving. So if you're always growing, you're always dying. So for some people, if you get to have that dream about death, it might scare you. Like, oh my gosh, it's death, it's coffin, it's something I'm not ready yet. But I don't like to take it that way. I don't like to believe in that information that way. I'd love to believe it in a much deeper way because I want to understand my subconscious in a way that not literally but figuratively. I know that whatever I've been through for months, it means that it has died already and I'm done with it. So, the reason why I got that dream was for me a reminder na I am now growing, I'm now stepping into a new season, I am evolving, and I think it might also be a reminder for you. This time you are growing, you are evolving, you are thriving, and that means na you have to accept that a part of you will die and a part of you will never be the same anymore. I think this topic about death as well has been so deep in my life kasi may napakinggan akong episode with Mel Robbins where she interviewed someone who is so into death. I mean, this person is so fascinated about the topic of death and that we should talk about it more often. Kasi in real life, totoo, no one talks about death. No one talks about it. Even just thinking about, for example, insurances. We're so afraid to talk about it. It's a taboo for us. We're not open to the idea that in time we'll get to leave this planet. And it's sad, but maybe just by talking about death makes us want to live more. And you know what? After sharing that dream with my safe spaces, I get to realize what that dream means for me. I don't know if this episode is even making sense for you, but I just really want this one to be just flowy and just all about my experiences. I realized after that dream that I don't want to die yet. And that's huge for me. I know how death can bring so much emotions, or emotions can really come up because it might be related to a death of a loved one or a death of someone so close to your heart. But I want this to be so personalized for you. I know how death right now is associated with ending people's lives, with ending one's lives, with ending our lives. But I hope that it will never be an option for you. Looking back, baka kaya nagkaroon din ako ng ganong panaginip is one for me to be reminded that I'm so done with all that I've been through for the past months, that a part of me has died already because I'm now stepping into a new season. Two, it makes me realize that I don't wanna die yet. Like, really. Ibang realization when you don't wanna die, not because you're afraid of it, but because you know you're not done yet. And I hope that a higher being gets to also realize and acknowledge that point of view of yours. I know, like, syempre, that's out of my control. But ibang realization and ibang hit kapag na-realize mo na, oh my gosh, I don't wanna die yet. I haven't done my purpose yet. I don't think I've lived fully yet. I don't think I've done enough work. I don't think I've used my gift enough to die this early. But yeah, that's the second thing. I really don't want to die yet. And when you get to realize and when you get to a point of your life na marirealize mo na ayaw mo pang mamatay, it will give you that boost to live your life well, to live your life intentionally and full of purpose, to love deeply because you don't know. And lastly, I think it's also a reminder for me to encourage others to not end their lives. It might be like what I told you, suicide and ending people's lives has been an option nowadays. And it really breaks my heart that, someone at the other or on the other end of this screen is thinking of that or considering it, just considering it, it breaks my heart. Kasi, how can we have ever reached this point, diba? When we have been like the most innovated generation ever and still we feel the most disconnected. I hope that it will never be an option for you. Just because we're talking about it. Just because we're talking about it openly. I'm really hoping that this episode will remind you of how beautiful it is to live and how amazing life will be on the other end if you get to live life fully. How amazing, diba, to be able to realize what does Risha on the other side looks like. What does you on the other side looks like if you don't give up. Ano kayang buhay ko pag nalampasan ko to? Ano kayang itsura ko? Sino yung kasama ko? Ano kayang mga nangyari? Ano kayang mga natutunan ko? Ano kayang suot ko? 'Di ba? It's a beautiful journey. And I feel like this episode is also a reminder for you that always acknowledge the journey before death, which means that not everybody is equipped to acknowledge and to feel. And this episode is a reminder for you to do that. Not everybody is equipped to feel. So, whatever it is for you, whatever emotions are coming up right now, whatever emotions is happening right now, if this is making you emotional, if this is making you sad or disappointed or happy or what, I just wanna give you like this reminder na your emotions are what connect you to life. Your emotions, kapag nakat na yan, it's death. So, my realization of I don't wanna die yet is the reason why I got that dream. I can't stand. I feel like, 'di ba, parang ang dami ko pang gustong gawin, ang dami ko pang gustong matulungan, ang dami ko pang gustong paggamitan yung gift ko, yung buhay ko. And I feel like this world deserves to see more from me and more of me. I just can't wait to live life in a very purposeful way. I listened dun nga sa episode ni Mel Robbins with this death expert. And sabi niya, I hope that when you are there, you get to say, I died well because I lived well. I died well because I lived well. And may that be like a reminder for you as we close this episode. I hope you get to die well because you lived well. Sana death will remind you to live a life worth looking back. Sana death will remind you to live and love fully. Sana death will remind you how a privilege it is to actually live. Sana death will remind you to spend more time with your family. Sana death will remind you to do the things that you've always wanted to do. Sana death will also remind you to chase that dream and to not think of what others would say about it. Sana death will remind you how precious your time here on earth is. Sana death will remind you of how beautiful it is to be on your shoes. Kasi sometimes we don't get to realize that. And if death can make us realize that, let's talk about it more often. That's about it, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Like, I really hope you got some insights. I'd love to know your thoughts. I know this is not like our typical podcast flow, but I'd love to explore din kasi. So for comments, what's your thoughts about death? I mean, what do you think of it? Are you afraid of it, or Or whoa, what emotions come up when you think about it? Next is for the pause section. Have you thought about death? I mean, I know it's a taboo, but have you thought about it? You can also share your favorite takeaways on social media, and don't forget to tag me at Risha Marceliana because I love seeing your posts. I love resharing it on my story. So I can't wait to see what resonated most with you. Know that I am grateful. Know that you're the reason why I'm here. And again, this has been your friend and your host, Risha. Know that I'm grateful for you. I've always been, and I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you big time. I'll see you in the next few days. Don't forget to always keep moving. Bye!